Well, there's some comedy in this story. And I do like writing comedy anyway, but I think also when it comes to something like sustainability, climate change, the environment, there is a danger that if you try and kind of get on a pulpit and then tell them it's all awful and they've got to do something or else they're all evil, this doesn't go down very well. So I think one of the nice things about comedy is it can kind of get under the radar. And because people are laughing about it, and particularly if you have characters in it who they can relate to, then they don't feel like it's, you know, it's them versus you. It's more like they feel they can relate to it. And then if you can have a character in the story change their view to some extent, the reader can also hopefully change a bit as well. Also, just to mention, as Denise was saying earlier, people respond well to environmental things in ways that benefit them. For example, in Copenhagen recently, they did a study of the cycling, because in Copenhagen the cycling is just brilliant. I mean, everyone just cycles in. And they found out that people weren't cycling because of the environment, they were simply cycling in because it was quicker. And so this might be an interesting topic as a way to get people on board. In the same way, say, renewable energies can actually be cheaper than fossil fuel or nuclear. And this is probably the way to actually get people on board in an environmentally positive situation, is not by convincing them of a moral case, but actually convincing them of almost a business case or a quality of life case. So, yes, I'll get on with the story now. The buildings were singing that morning when I met Jeannie in the tea house. We were in our city's western plaza, in the shadows of their tall greenery-covered sides. They were making notes across our entire range of hearing with all the devices at their command, from their hydraulic pumps through their mid-range speaker cones, all the way up to their ultrasonic window cleaners. Their melodies were beautiful, and they played them together, harmonizing with each other, adding phrases, counterbalancing them, then passing them around. Each was a living system, their computer brains managing their power generation, using ground source heat pumps, solar panels, and rooftop wind turbines. But they also monitored the plants growing up their walls, husbanding those living epiphytes, and adjusting their own structural heat loss, reflection, and shade to harmonize with the plant's rhythms. The buildings had even learned from the living world, understanding how to change their microclimate through controlled loss of moisture, a trick mastered by forests for millennia. Together they had created an urban paradise. But there was a catch. It wasn't a catch I had a problem with, but my friend Jeannie, she suffered from it all the time. She was sitting at the cafe's corner table, gazing miserably across the plaza when I arrived. She'd already ordered a pot of Darjeeling tea, the house specialty, on account of it growing on the roof. She looked like she'd swallowed a bug, and I don't mean as part of our daily snack of insects, I mean as in pissed off. I sat down opposite her and poured out a cup. "What's up?" I said. "I fell out with my building." "You fell out of your building?" "No, I fell out with my building." She tapped the table with her fingers, partly in time to the building's music, but mostly in irritation. I lifted the cup to my lips. "What did you do, Jeannie?" "Nothing, Pete. Why does it have to be my fault?" "What did you do?" She stared at me miserably. "I smuggled in a cat." "A cat?" I pulled my cup down. "A carnivore? Are you nuts? What about the birds that nest on your tier? It'll scare them off or kill them. If a cat's around, they'll suffer and you'll get no eggs. We all need eggs. Carnivores don't produce anything, Jeannie. All they produce is poo, pee, and more carnivores." "I know that, Pete. Don't I know that? But it was really friendly and it purred and it looked so alone." She looked up at the cafe ceiling. "So I smuggled it in. I fed it vat steak, and now my building's dropped the temperature in my room, cut off my vat steak supply, turned off all my artificial lights, and blocked my television channels apart from Eco-Life." She sank down in her chair. "I'm forced to watch whales because I was nice to a cat." "You know what you have to do," I said in a low voice. "No! Jeannie, you've got to apologise to your building." "No way!" She slapped the table, making her cups jiggle. "I am not going down on my hands and knees in front of a lump of concrete. I'm sick of this, Pete. I am sick of having to stay on the good side of a block of flats. Our grandparents made those buildings to think for themselves, so we didn't have to do boring jobs or work out exactly how to run things. That's what their digital brains were for. Now those stupid, clever devices have turned the tables on us. They've taken their revenge, Pete. They're telling us what to do when we should be their masters. Jeannie, I said carefully, do you really want to go into the freedom zone? I looked westwards towards the mountains. The land where humans still decide everything? Of course not, she said, wiping her hand across the table. Be serious. Rags aren't my style. She leant forward. But I don't like our super smart buildings. They're controlling us. They could make our lives a misery if they wanted to. This isn't about buildings, is it, Jeannie? It's about that home appliance again. No! Your brother's relationship was always doomed. It would have ended badly whatever happened. She left him for their fridge. Yeah, I agreed, sipping my tea, but it was an impressive fridge. The Cool-O-Matic 4000 won several prizes. That's not all it won, she snapped back. That stupid machine with its 4 gigahertz chip, she made quick marks in the air, its social learning unit, its library of 14,000 jokes and its 2-stage ice maker. My brother didn't stand a chance. She sniffed. I warned him, you know. I pointed out what was happening. The way Sandra giggled at its fun quips about optimum juice storage. The way she stood next to it, her hip pressed lightly against its child-proof handle, watching it craft a slushie for her. It was awful, Pete. Some nights he'd find her in the kitchen in the shadows, laughing and chatting to it about salads. Her face all lit up, her eyes glowing like temperature icons. He tried to stop it in the end. He gave her an ultimatum. It was him or the fridge. She chose the fridge. What's worse, he had to leave the apartment because, in her words, he wasn't a built-in fitting. Will you calm down? I tried to hold her hands without knocking the teapot over. That's ancient history, Jeannie. We don't even have fancy new commercial products anymore. Everything's 3D printed into modular parts. Old stuff is dismantled and turned into new, simpler products. Mr. Cool-O-Matic has gone. He can't steal anyone's girlfriend anymore. His parts are now in kettles, lamps, and power tools. Yeah, she said bitterly. And that's why my brother lives in a tent. There we go.